And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
You never know what you're going to get when you have one of these small independent publisher games, especially when they have such an exciting theme about them. Quoor, Kingdom of Quoor, Quoor, is a game that I thought looked pretty neat. When I saw the website, went to it, saw tracks going around the board, saw dragons and fighting them, even a cursory look of how the game played seemed to be very interesting. But the game ran into some pretty difficult things right away. The first is the rulebook. Now, on first glance, the rulebook looks really interesting, but it's really one of the most user-unfriendly rulebooks that I've ever seen. The rules themselves are written in all capital letters, and then the lines in the rulebook are centered. So we have all capital letters, then centered, then printed on top of pictures that are very dark. So I don't know how well this will come out on the video, but you can see right here that reading like that, it's hard to explain. It's like the game is shouting at you. Your eyes start crossing as you read it. And I really had a difficult time just trying to figure out how the game itself played. I can't believe that the people who play tested the game looked at this rule book and thought even remotely that it was well formatted. I'm not a great formatter, but man, you can barely read this. And then everyone I played the game with, I said, here, why don't you look at the rules and you figure it out. And I almost didn't play the game because we just had a difficult time getting through the rules. But we did make it through the rules, and then we went and looked at the game itself. Let me show you some of the game. Here's a picture of the board itself, and you can see that it has some pretty nice artwork on it, although the board itself is kind of busy trying to figure out where everything is. And if we look more carefully at the board here, you can see that there are pathways in which players will be moving pawns on the pathway. In fact, the game is kind of a roll and move game where you're going to be rolling dice to some degree and moving people. Now, I don't have the whole game set up here, and again, if I make a mistake as I talk about the game in this review, it's simply because the rules were that difficult for me to figure out how everything was going. But we have different red chips that will be placed across the board, and these will be placed in different dragon layers. One thing that I thought was really neat about the game is each dragon layer has its own card in it, and then in that card you're going to put a dragon reward card and the dragon itself in that card. So for example, here we see one of the dragons who looks actually like a giant iguana, and the reward in this one is a treasure worth a value of 3. However, some of the dragons have princesses that you have to rescue, but you really have no idea what you're going after. But I didn't mind the whole. See, this one has a huge evil red dragon inside it, and it has a treasure worth a value of 2. And this one here, here's the princess, Karen. I mean, boy, doesn't she look like something you want to rescue. And inside is the dragon that you're fighting there. So on a player's turn, they have different actions that they are going to be taking. Some of these actions will be moving their pieces on the board, but also moving these defenders on the board, trying to block your opponents. And therein lies one small problem in the game, is that, actually more maybe I guess than small, is that you can move these guys and block somebody and really just mess up someone else on their turn, especially if multiple people are conspiring to stop someone. And it can be very frustrating where and when you can move on your turn. But when you do move on your turn, you're basically trying to collect soldier cards that you're going to be buying. You start with a few of them, and they're knights and soldiers worth different values. And you want to have these so that when you go up against a dragon, you have enough to be able to fight that dragon. If you have enough to fight the dragon, you go up to a dragon, you open the envelope, you see if you have enough troops to fight it, and if you win, hooray, you get the reward. Otherwise, you lose the troops. And it's kind of like a way of gambling. But you also get different citizens. Like here, for example, is a royal guard, and there's all different citizens, a traveler, and the fool, and the witch, and you can use these people to harass other players and to help yourself out. They don't have their special abilities written on them, which again means you have to go back to this rule book, which makes you cross your eyes and figure out which each of these characters makes you do. But basically the goal of the game is slowly but surely to take out these dragons and maybe go around and take out dragons' nests on the board. But you have 4 actions you can take in your turn, which might be taking money, which might be moving extra spaces. You can move 4 spaces for an action. and then move 2 extra spaces for another action. Take more citizens, take more warriors, get more money. But I will tell you that the game pretty much evolves to doing the same thing. Moving almost every turn, getting some money, buying as many warriors as you can afford, and if you can't, saving up money to buy some more, and going off and fighting a dragon hoping you win. Moving these black pawns on the board to try and get in the way of your opponent, moving yourself to a spot that will help you out quite a bit, and wow, it just starts to feel very monotonous. I really hesitate to doing this review at all because this isn't a game that is going to get a lot of press, and I hate to just trash a game completely. And so I have to say that the game isn't all bad, but it's close. The rulebook is atrocious. The artwork is good. I like the artwork for many of the things, although, I mean, really, they couldn't have drawn princesses that looked even slightly like they weren't hating you. But the artwork on the board is nice but confusing. But the mechanics themselves, it just was so boring. Move some pieces, get some money, go around. And when you fought a dragon, sometimes it was just a complete, I hope I have enough to kill the dragon. Now you can scout out dragons to some degree, find out what they are, but man, combat just was very lackluster, and it just wasn't enthusiastic. I want a game where it's like, yeah, let's go up against the dragon. Come on, yeah, we got him. Let's go to the next one. That's the feeling I want from a game like this, and this game just didn't have it. It was more like, move the pawns. I can't move there. My pawn is blocked. Aha, I'll move over here. Look, I've assassinated you. Which should sound, you know, a game in which you can assassinate other players sounds much more exciting than it, and it's just not. Like I said, I want to like this game, but I really can't recommend it to anybody. It's less than mediocre.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.